Hi, this is Leo Schumann. Welcome to our module on extending custom content types. So in this module, we're going to talk about customizing content types by modifying their fields and adding additional fields. So we'll edit field definitions, and we're going to look at adding a text field, an image field, and a list field as examples of the many different types of fields you could use to customize a given content type. Now, to modify the content type field definitions, you're going to go to the Manage Fields tab. You'll locate this by going to Structure Content Types, going to a particular content type, and then clicking on Manage Fields. Although you'd also find you could just click on Edit, and you would see the various tabs available along the top. Now, when you go to this particular tab, you're going to be looking at, amongst other things, the field types the data type a field will contain, along with the widget, which is the form element or elements that are available to present on the form when you edit or add a new node of this type. So on this page, here on the Manage Fields tab, you'll see the label, which is the name description for that field, the machine name, which is the internal variable name for the field. Those are normally automatically created by Drupal, and you would just stick with those names unless you had a good reason to change them. The field type, which is the data type it's going to capture, a widget, which you may have a choice about depending on the kind of field you're working with, as we'll see. You'd also be able to edit or delete any given field. Later, we're going to look at adding new fields and reusing existing fields as well. So when you go to add or edit a field, certain settings will always be there, like the label, the text which would be displayed by the widget, whether it's required, help text to describe what should be put in this particular field, a default value if you wish to provide one, and perhaps a number of values. You can say that you want anywhere in a fixed number from 1 to 10 or an unlimited number of fields of this particular type to appear on the form. As an example, perhaps you have a book content type like we're looking at, but you need to support any number of authors and you want each author to appear in a different field. As we'll see later, that's a good example for an unlimited number of values for that particular field. Now, the available settings are going to vary, sometimes significantly, by the field type. For example, image fields, as we'll see later, would include file extension filters. List fields would have an interface for prescribing the list values, and so on. We'll see this as we go along. Now here, we also want to introduce the idea of the token module. The token module is pre-installed in AcquiDev Desktop, and what it does is take system information and creates variables that you can use to render in fields in Drupal which are designed to support them. As an example, the help text field, when we go in to edit field definitions, supports tokens. We'll be able to click on Browse Available Tokens to look up the dozens of different tokens which are available, and then click to embed the text for that variable within a particular field. So let's jump in and take a look at this. Now in the application, to support the demo that I'm going to do, I've modified the user record. I've edited it to add a picture for user 1. Now I'm going to go to the Structure menu, and I'll go to Content Types, and I'll find my book content type and click to Manage Fields. Now what I want to do is modify my body field. That's the default label and machine name for the field where I was putting my book description. We'll see it supports a long text and summary with a text area with a summary widget. This is the default in Drupal for a new content type. But the word body doesn't really work. What people are going to be putting in here is a description of the book, and it does make sense for that to be required. In my help text, I might write something like, please add a book description. And notice down below here that you can both use tokens and HTML in these help text fields. So I'm going to click on Browse Available Tokens, open up my lookup, and I see that there's a token for the current user picture. I'll click on that and then close this dialog and see that that has been embedded within the help text field. I'm going to change the rows to just 5, and down below, in default value, I might want to have in here some kind of default copyright notice or other fixed text. I'll scroll on down. I do only want one description field, so I'll leave this number of values at the default of 1 and save my settings. So I now have a description field rather than a field named body. So I'll go add another book, and now when I do so, my changes are present. I'll add a book named Siddhartha and some description. See that my copyright notice is there, and we'll see that the help text down below does include the embedded token value, in this case the picture of the person who was editing, and I will save my changes.